All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about some meal timing here. And so this is kind of like built upon the idea of when we should be eating our macros, right? Like our carbs, protein, fats. Okay. So mostly fats, they're just going to find their way into our diet. So we're going to mostly just focus on the carbs and protein. And so let's think about like when we're trying to work out, let's say you're someone that gets up at, let me do this. So let's say you sleep until, yeah, right here at like 6, and then you go to bed at 10. So let's say that's your 8 hour schedule. You wake up at 6, and then this, you might eat somewhere in between 6 to 10. Okay. So with this meal, we want to have it very like carb focused and still like some protein, like say, like for instance, imagine like 4 ounces to 8 ounces of meat. Okay. And this would be in the morning. We want like a little bit of protein to help start our metabolism. And the carbs will just help us give us energy for the day. The big thing is for lunch and breakfast, we want to get way more carbs. So I'll put that in green because that's our energy, right? So we want to make sure we're getting them earlier in the day as much as possible. And you still are going to want them at dinner. So still carb, still at lunch, carb still. And then that way you're fueled for your workout, and then less carb at dinner. Okay. So protein, we really want to focus on that during lunch, a little bit before lunch, and especially at dinner. So if I could do it like this, actually, how I would to actually just show this a little bit better, I think it would probably be, let's go focus on carbs a little bit more at lunch, and then a little bit more of a division with the carb and protein for breakfast, because that will set your metabolism and give you fuel for the day. And then at lunch, get a little bit more carbs and a little bit of protein to prepare you for the workout. Like, cause let's say you work out after, work, or just kind of a typical like American schedule right here. Then you hit the workout, and we want that to be fueled by the protein, or fueled by carbs mostly, because that's glucose. That's our energy source, right? So glucose, energy source from carbs. Okay, so that's why we really want to focus on that. Oops. During the workout, because then we're going to crush it. Now, when we focus on the protein after the workout, the protein's just going to go in there and just fuel us. It's going to repair, right? Protein, repair, and build muscle, and just great for cell regeneration. So for your entire body, the protein is so good. Okay, so let me kind of put that purplish and orange. All right, so that's the main. This is how when we time our meals really effectively with the workout, that's where we get the best results with our training. So we're sleeping, right? Obviously, we want to get good sleep, like 8 hours. And within that, this could go like how I would recommend if you're working out in the morning. So if you're working out in the morning, boom, what you're going to need to do is have more protein at lunch. Anytime after workout, always focus on protein, like 80% of the calories. Like that might not be like a fair number, but just kind of think that in your mind, like as like a rule of thumb. Like it might not actually be 80%, but like think that like, okay, like most of what I'm going to be eating here is going to be the meat or the tofu if you're vegetarian, or the salmon if you're pescatarian. All right. So because when we do that, when we hit everything like this, our workouts get better, and then we just recover so much faster. Okay. And then when I think I've talked about this before, like 4 hours, I believe it's 4 hours before bed. Let's say 2 to 4 hours, because I feel like 4 hours might be too long. But 4 hours before bed, less carbs for sure. Okay, there's studies showing that high carb intake before bed leads to glucose intolerance, aka pre-diabetic. So that's the big thing is like people when they start really developing type 2 diabetes, it's usually because right before they go to sleep they start slamming snacks and sugar and like that, and they do that for years. And when you do that for years, that's where you start building that glucose intolerance and insulin resistance. Yeah, insulin resistance. Yeah, and insulin, remember basically what insulin is, it just like stores the energy into our body so that way we can use it for the glucose for fuel while we're working out, that type of thing. So this is a discussion here on meal timing. Let me think here if there's anything I'm missing. Is there, like, Chris, since you're here, any questions you have on this? Because I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to bring up on this.
Questions. So what if I worked out like before, like as soon as I woke up? You know what I mean? Like before breakfast
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
I
good
don't know.
question. Yeah, I think it's a good question. I would say if you're gonna work out in the morning, still like what I think is great to do, like for instance, here, let me shrink these down a little bit. Okay, so it's like morning workout or like morning workout. I would say still try to get some carb. Like you could go, this is what I did a lot when I was doing CrossFit at like 5 a.m. I would do like a smoothie with banana, like blueberry, milk, like, and it could literally be like, you could literally be like 400 calories. Like it doesn't need to be a lot. Like, but if you got like 2 to like 500 calories, like, yeah, let's just put that as like a baseline number. Um, hold on. Like 200 to 500 calories. I would say do that, like, because the more you can give yourself like the proper fuel before you train, you're just going to have better workouts. It's just like a fact of like science, like it shows it over and over again. Like fasted workouts, don't get me wrong, like they can be great. Like fasted cardio is like pretty popular too. Like people when they're trying to lose weight, they try to, like wake up in the morning, they're fasted and run. And I used to do that a lot too. And I think it definitely works, but I also feel like you're just not going to get as good of a workout in or run. Like anytime I do, like for instance, I was working out CrossFit a couple weeks ago and I ate nothing. And I showed up and I had like, and it's something that like, you could still go in and get like a workout in and like, but I could just tell like my energy was just not there like at all. Like I was like, so I had to go and like buy like a fruit at a store and like a Gatorade. I needed like some like sugar like ASAP because like it's like if your goal is to like have better results like physically, right, which most are, it's like we're trying to get healthier, stronger, and we're trying to get more fit. We're also trying to shred fat and have like a better body appearance. It's like we want to have the best workout we can to do that. And so like that's why if you think about an athlete, like look at like the pro athletes, like their bodies look fantastic and they don't do like any fasted like cardio. That's like they're using food as fuel always. And so that way they can train harder and that way they can recover better. And then their bodies just look great alongside that, because they're like literally athletic machines. So it's always kind of good to look at what like the pro athletes are doing, like with the pro athletes, whatever they're doing, if it's working for them, it's probably going to work for the general population too. And so sometimes we kind of think like, the reason why fasting though is really effective. And I just did a 48-hour fast. So I think next week when we talk, I'm going to share some information on that. The reason why fasting is very effective though, and especially in intermittent fasting, is that in general, it helps people avoid it helps them stay in a calorie deficit, because a lot of times what most people are struggling with their diet is just they're eating too many calories and usually too much sugar. And so if you focus on fasting, you're just, because of that, you're going to eat less sugar and less calories. So I think when I've like looked at a lot of the research, and if you listen to a lot of really big experts like in nutrition, they do say that a lot of the success you see in intermittent fasting, a lot of it just has to do with like the calorie deficit. So it's like you don't necessarily need to be fasting if you are eating nutrition the right way for you, and you're still like staying a little bit in that calorie deficit, or like a little bit of surplus if you're trying to gain muscle. You're going to have like insanely good results. And so intermittent fasting is a good way to do that too. But like the problem with intermittent fasting can be it's hard to get a lot of protein, because it's like you have to try to eat as much protein as you can in like 8 hours, like 6 to 8 hours. And so, which can happen, but it's like you got to be like ready to eat it all, you know. So, but yeah, have you with Chris, with your workouts, when you've done them in the morning, is it like pretty hard to get food in before you eat, or do you think you could do that if you were going to work out in the morning?
If I was to work out in the morning, just because like of my schedule, I wouldn't have to just skip breakfast and have breakfast after.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Right. So
but I'm
another thing you,
pretty okay with working out like right after work.
yeah, another thing you could do, like when I was mentioning the smoothie thing, like if you're
Mhm.
someone that's wanting to do morning workouts and it's doesn't seem like it's feasible to do your smoothie before you work out in the morning, like this is what I would do. The night before, I would chop this all up. Like I would have this banana and blueberry inside of the blender in like the
Yeah.
fridge. So I would just have it sitting there in the fridge or in the freezer. And then you could just, right when you pull it out, you add like the milk or whatever type of milk you're using, and like blend it quick. And you could literally make like a 6 to 8 ounce drink if you're just, just like one banana, maybe two. It depends on like what your goals are. A little bit of blueberries, and you could get a good like 200 to 300 calories really quick. You just pull it out of the fridge, pour the milk in, blend it quick, and then drink it. And it's gonna taste good too, because it's actually like cold from the fridge already. You could
Mhm.
put honey in there as well. Honey is fantastic. Actually, another kind of trick that I could put in there, honey after workout with protein. So this is like kind of like a thing a lot of athletes do as well, is like after you work out and you're eating that meal with protein at dinner, or like whatever your meal is after your workout, when you put that honey, when you digest that honey is a like high fructose, uh contains a lot of high fructose, like a lot of sugar, but it's like great sugar. It's a natural sugar. And so when you have it, it kind of like speeds up your body's process to intake uh more of the nutrients that you're eating with the protein. So it's like it kind of like kickstarts your recovery process a little bit faster. So a lot of people that are athletes and stuff, they eat that honey. Bodybuilders do that too. They really like doing that honey after you work out with a little protein. That's huge. So morning workout, I would just say, yeah, like if you're gonna do the morning workout, you want to eat a little bit something beforehand. Just do a little smoothie, leave in the freezer or the fridge overnight. Just add some milk or whatever in the morning, drink it quick, and that works pretty well when I've seen it. Like if it was just, it could be like 200 to 300 calories, and then you're good. And then after that, you could go eat eggs and bacon or something like that has protein afterwards, and then you're chilling.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I used to do that a lot. Actually, this is what I would do. There was a while when I was doing CrossFit last year, like I would sleep like 10 to 4, so like 6 hours. And then I would train from like 5 to 6, or like 5 to 7, let's say. And then I would come back home. This is a perk though of like working
Yeah.
from home for sure. And then I would eat breakfast for like an hour. So I would eat breakfast, and then I would sleep again from like 8 to like 10. Okay. And I'd sleep again. And then this is like an athlete like lifestyle though. This is like what Kobe Bryant like
Yeah.
would do. That's why
Yeah.
I was trying it. Because you would wake up at like 4, train once, and then I could sleep again, and then I would work on like business stuff until like 3 or something like that. Okay. And then this is when I was personal training in the evening at a gym too. So then I would do my work, which we'll just put as red. And that was like, yeah, from like 10 to 3. So yeah, like 5 hours. And then basically I'd train again, like 3 to 5. And then I'd have to work another 3 hours, 6, 7, 8 to like 9. And then the only problem was it was hard to get a lot of calories after that second workout because I'd have to like eat some stuff like in between like personal training sessions. Like somehow I'd have to fit my dinner in between 5 to 10. And that's where like for me, I was kind of a struggle then. But that's an example of like how athletes like do it sometimes, but they obviously their job is to literally train. So they don't have to like spend this time here and there to work like I was doing, like the 8 hours I was taking out of the day to work. So but that's an example of like what I was doing. Like right now, for instance, what I'm doing is like I'm sleeping till 7, and then I'm basically working the first like 3 hours of the day, or first usually up until like 11:30, and then I eat my first meal, which I'm just eating 2 meals a day now, and then I train in this early part of the afternoon, usually from like 2 to 4, and then I come back and eat all my like all the protein, recover from that, and then I'm good. Like I eat 2 meals a day right now, and I'm able to do that just because like it works right now. Like my appetite can handle it, and so some people need to eat 3 meals a day, but if your appetite can handle two, I've found out that two works really well for me, and I think a lot of people can have success with that if they try to, because it's like you save time for one,
Yeah.
and it prioritizes your training too, your workout. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna eat all this food before I work out, and then all this food after I work out. And so it's kind of like you're always building upon the workout, which is cool, you know. So that's kind of like how I do it now. And so every time I eat, it's kind of built upon like my workout, you know, and in the weekend, don't get me wrong, like you gotta have fun and stuff. Like I do like I'm out and having sushi, I'm having fun meeting people. Like I'm not like
Yeah.
we don't need to be obsessed with our nutrition like every single second of the day. But it's cool. It's cool when you kind of prioritize the nutrition around the workouts like that. You get really good results with it. So yeah, man. Is there any other question you kind of have on that?
No, not that I can think of. So
This kind of makes sense, or like I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place. Look at this. You can tell I got like ADHD in this thing. Just looking at this chart.
no, no, it's good. I kind of I get like the protein and carb breakdown, especially like before the
Uh,
workouts. After it makes sense to have more protein after working out, also. So
right.
yeah,
Yeah, dude, it's huge. Yeah, exactly. And so with dinner or like whatever your meal is after your workout, you still want a little some carbs for sure. But
yeah,
it's not like we need to eat like 3 potatoes and 2 slices of bread
yeah,
and then a piece of cake or something like that. It's like we could have like one of those things, you know, or if you can
yeah,
have like a couple of it works. And then if you want, like, if you still want to eat all those things, if you want to eat like bread a lot and you want to eat like potatoes and even like cake, like you can definitely fit desserts into this thing. And I eat desserts, just like do it a little bit smarter, like have a little bit of dessert like before you work out, or just
yeah,
like if you're going to have after you work out, just have like a smaller portion, you know,
yeah, for sure.
because I eat chocolate a lot actually, and
Yeah,
like because chocolate's like pretty good for you. Like in most cases, it's just like when you're having a lot of chocolate, it's not a
yeah,
bad, it's a great idea.
for sure.
So yeah, so kind of review again. Yeah, so with that first workout, the first workouts before you train, mostly carb focused, like fats will fit into here no matter what. Like if you're eating like avocado, if you're not eating avocado, you're good too. But if you're eating eggs and you're eating meat, you're going to be getting fats from those sources. And if you're eating like peanut butter and other like butters, you're going to be getting fat. And a lot of like other, what else would be like other forms of nuts will have fat. So you're gonna run into fat either way. And it's good. Like fat's not bad. It's great for hormones. Like, that's kind of like fat's not the enemy. Okay. Great for hormones. And so obviously we want to avoid though, like avoid like the super fried foods though, because that's like just unnecessary fat, like, and
Yeah.
sometimes you might have to though. Sometimes you're traveling and you should try it out, obviously, here and there. So, but when you're getting a bunch of chicken that's been fried and then a bunch of fries that have been fried,
Yeah.
it's like that's where fat can go wrong. And so
Like how
that's, yeah. Go ahead.
like fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fun stuff. That's the tricky part about like American food culture is just like they're usually just doing unnecessary amounts of fat and sugar. You know, it's not like they're necessarily wrong. They're not bad things. It's good to have a little sugar. It's good to have the fats. It's just like when they go ham on it,
Yeah.
like, and they're just like, it's super deep fried and whatever. It's like, whoa, dude,
Mhm.
like let's slow down a little bit here.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah, so that's basically it. Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks for watching this, guys. If you're watching this later, Chris, thanks for giving me some questions with this, and hopefully this kind of flows and makes any bit of sense. I had an idea of how I wanted this presentation to look, and it kind of did go how I was sort of hoping, but it's kind of all over the place too. But you can see I like to use colors. Colors kind of help me like, hey, these connect, these colors connect. So that's kind of the idea. But yeah. So next week we'll talk about fasting stuff. So yeah, Chris, if you got time to, I recommend checking out that conversation too. I'm probably gonna have some other people attend on that one next week. This one just kind of I forgot to promote it because usually on Mondays I do something like this. I just forgot to
Yeah.
promote it tonight. And so yeah, man. But that's it. So I'll see you later, dude. And let me know some stuff. Let me turn off the recording now.